Hey, what's good? I'm here.
Okay.
I'm muting. Hey, what's happening, Tamoor?
What's going on, bro? How's it going?
It's going all right. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Enjoying the Sunday fun day. It's popping off. This is my
Yeah,
idea of fun. I like it.
yeah. I know that we were originally supposed to be doing light news, but as is the case always with talking about this issue, it we're just still we're we'll get to the
Yeah.
fun eventually.
It's important, man. It's important. This is if you're not going to say it now, when are you going to say it? You know, the momentum's built in a big way, more than previously it seems anyway. So we've got to take the time to say what needs to be said instead of pretending you're someone else in GTA or whatever it
Yeah.
may
Well,
be.
I haven't been doing that. I haven't been doing role play. Oh no, you brought up role
Yeah.
play.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
here we go. Here we
Oh
go.
no, everyone's gonna
Game chat
fucking
going
lose their
on.
shit, dude. Oh no.
That was all part of the plan. I'm here to
Oh,
cause chaos.
oh no. Now everyone's gonna be like, Sag Donnie, Sag Donnie. Why is Donnie gone? Um,
Bring him back.
so for those of you who don't know, I am currently talking to Tamoor Hussain. Am I saying your name right? Am
Yeah,
I
that's good, man. It's better than most people say it, so that's good
okay?
enough for me.
All right. He's the managing editor of GameSpot. He's a British Pakistani Muslim, and you write, you host, you podcast, and you stream. Um, so yeah. So what's up? We're gonna be
Yeah,
talking today about the changes that I'm sure as a British Muslim you have personally observed is something that like I've seen in Western media for the first time ever, as a longtime advocate of Palestinian liberation. We saw specifically in the gamer sphere, we saw IGN and also GameSpot take decisive action and
yeah,
make statements. So you
yeah.
want to get started on that? You want to give us a little bit of background on what happened?
Yeah, it was a big deal, and it's something that I'm super proud of the industry I work in for. I mean, it's not been perfect, but it's there, you know, and it's happening in a way that previously hasn't happened. So, kind of like a small timeline of it. I've been thinking a lot about the awareness around the Palestinian issue globally, but more specifically, I want to speak to the industry that I work in because it's the one I know best. And I should say outright that, you know, when I made that video, I made it as a personal thing. It's up on my YouTube channel, which has got like a handful of subscribers and is mostly filled up with Overwatch play of the games. But, you know, I spent so much time thinking about the contrast between the way my industry reacted to other issues such as BLM and Stop AAPI Hate, and I got to see firsthand the power of the video game industry in social issues. Um, it's the current video game industry, the people who work at sites like IGN, Game Informer, Kotaku, GameSpot, they are incredibly sensitive, forward thinking, very welcoming and accepting people, and they're socially conscious. And regardless of what your opinions of what we think about games are and our reviews, that's something that I think a lot of people who have any sort of understanding of us will know, and it's something that we often get criticized about. But my issue was I wasn't seeing those people mobilize in the same way that they did for Black Lives Matter and Stop AAPI Hate, you know. I'm speaking, and like when I made that video, I wanted to speak for myself. I wasn't speaking for GameSpot or the company that I work for, which I'm not doing now, to make that clear. But I wanted to kind of talk to my peers and my friends and put out a broad message in a way that tells them that they don't need to be afraid to do that. And I think that's a lot of what needed, a lot of what was holding them back. It was a lot of reticence to say something because it's like you were talking about earlier, like there's decades and decades of messaging that trains us to not talk about this. And it's a thing that I say in my video, which is we're conditioned to ignore Palestinian suffering. And it's part of the media's machine to minimize the impact that that suffering happens on everyday Palestinians. There's a video going around on Twitter right now of this little girl who just is standing in the midst of rubble, crying and saying, I just want to be a doctor. I just want to help my people, but I'm 10. I'm just a kid. I'm 10. I don't know what to do. And it's heartbreaking. And the thing is, we don't get to see much of that. That's one kid that made it to the top. There's way more children. There's the video of kids playing on Eid on a trampoline while behind them bombs are just destroying everything. That wasn't circulated as widely. And because that isn't happening, we're missing the opportunity. People are missing the opportunity to see the human element of the suffering. And that is in a lot of ways, like you said, by design. And kind of my objective was to make people who I know have the impetus and the desire to help feel good or feel safe and feel encouraged to do that. So I put out a short video filmed in my apartment with shitty lighting and rubbish audio. And I just basically said, listen, this is no different than what you've seen before. Like, again, I want to make it 100% clear. I don't want to draw an equivalence between the suffering of Palestinians and the suffering of Black people for BLM or Asian people that are being discriminated against. Those, like I said, are all super important. But if you think about it, people didn't react the same way for Palestinians. Like, people mobilized within seconds, within minutes, within hours, and there were streams happening everywhere. The biggest streamers in the world were doing BLM streams. I've seen none of that in the industry. None of the big gaming streamers.
It's never happened. It is never happened. But remember, like, as someone who has done this for a very long time, as someone who's been a political commentator for almost fucking 10 years now, I'm old as shit. Holy crap. I've been talking about Black Lives Matter for many years, whereas like my coverage of Black Lives Matter was met with overwhelming amounts of negativity from even liberals back in the day. Under the Obama administration, when this movement originally started, and it took time, and I didn't see that sea change until the George Floyd protests that were international in nature, where we did see a majority support for BLM. Now, I'm not even going to talk about like the material changes that come as a consequence of grassroots mobilization such as that, but historically speaking, this level of, we're not even talking about like actual material support or change, but this level of acknowledgement of the humanity of Palestinians, I have never seen. I have never, ever seen this. Most people that even bring it up or talk about it are declared anti-Semites, including people like myself who do a lot of work to combat anti-Semitism. And anyone who has ever made a criticism is often, attacked relentlessly, mercilessly, even though it's a criticism of Israel. Criticisms of Israel are conflated with anti-Semitism, where anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. And so that was the norm. And for a brief moment, when I saw the IGN and the GameSpot tweets offering aid to Palestinian civilians and also acknowledging them as human beings, I thought this was the tides shifting. We were seeing so much more. We were seeing so much more people get aware of the ongoing brutality of the occupation, and now it's been removed. Like IGN Israel immediately was like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. This is unacceptable. We apologize. I can't believe that like IGN America acknowledge Palestinians as human beings. I don't know why the fuck you as IGN Israel would want to get upset at the acknowledgement of Palestinians as humans. That's kind of a self-report, but they posted about this and they removed it. The tweet was deleted. The link has been 404'd. The Palestinian flag immediately was removed from the IGN site banner. That was the first thing that they did. And as Jordan Fish says, one of the most surprising expressions of solidarity has been erased. Reporting is needed to remove passive voice from the previous two sentences. Yeah, it's gone now. The tweet's gone. Yeah. The link is gone. It's crazy that it lasted for 2 fucking days. It's also
Yeah.
ironic that it happened after, you know, after a media building was bombed by the IDF.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note is, like, I'm trying to be positive about this because ultimately what you said is true. Like, this is the most we've seen out of it. And I don't want the kind of discussion to move on and away from it. That tends to happen. We live in a world where the drama is the thing that overtakes the message. And, you know, the message and the story was IGN posted, and Game Informer as well is another one that is a big site that had it taken down. And the message for 2 solid days was, look at what they've done. This is huge. But now that it's been removed, the drama of them removing it is overtaking that. And it's so important not to let that happen. Do not let the discussion become, look at this sucks, because the IGN team, like, you can tell the editorial team took the decision to post that, and it is incredibly brave of them, and it's huge, and a huge moment for them. For 2 solid days, people were sharing it, they were looking at it, they were reading it. That's a lot of people that are educated, and who knows what happened. You can almost certainly guess that, you know, some higher exec got involved and asked them or had it taken down, but that doesn't reflect the editorial team of either IGN and or Game Informer. And the important thing is that there's screenshots of that thing, like, it's out there. People will continue to share it, and now the story becomes, do you remember when IGN did this? And the important thing to recognize is, whenever you see someone say this is shitty of IGN, always do your best to reply to that with, but they did it, and there's proof that they did it. People above them got involved, and their own interests overtook the humanity that these important people and the message they delivered. But let's not forget that that happened. GameSpot, which is a site I work for, and it's the site I'm managing editor, still has it up. I can't guarantee it's going to stay there. I know that my company is very supportive, and I got support in doing this. But who's to say someone doesn't come along eventually and ask for it to taken down? And if that happens, don't let the discussion become that it got taken down. Share that it was there in the first place, and that messages were being sent, and the awareness was there. Spread that around, because that is what's going to empower people to go forward and carry on doing it. It's not the idea that, oh, we tried and we failed. Tried and failed is what stops from movements like this and stops the awareness from growing, because then it tells people, if you try and do something, you will fail. They will censor you, and there's no point. That is not what the Palestinians need. They need people to see that others tried and others succeeded, and when that gets shared around, people will be emboldened to share even more, even if it is eventually, even if it's a small voice, collective. Hundreds and thousands of small voices collectively become one big voice, and it can affect change. It's going to be difficult, but it's possible, and this is just a big example of it happening. So if you're out there and you're mad at IGN, sure, you can send a nicely and politely worded message to their publishers and the people who you think may have caused this to happen. There's a guy on Twitter, his name's Imran Khan. He works for Fanbyte. He's posted links to the parent companies. You can use that, but also remember that this happened. It was huge. 3 of the biggest sites, Kotaku as well, still up, talked about the Palestinian suffering. They gave people a way to help, and that is unbelievable. It's a big moment for us. Gamers, like, are, especially within the industry, they're so giving. I've seen it happen so many times. We did a charity event last year, and it was unbelievable. Not only was it just us, like, writers doing it, we had developers coming in. We had developers from other companies coming in, and celebrity voice actors coming in, lending their voice and their kind of time and talent to raising money for BLM. I would love to see more companies. We don't have major platform holders or publishers speaking out in the same way that they did for BLM and others, because to a degree, it's not fashionable, but they're also inhibited, and they're fearing the same reprisal that most of us small people do. So share it and encourage it. Tell those companies that you appreciate that they did that, and tell the ones that aren't doing it that you want them to do it. Be polite about it. And if you come in droves and droves, eventually they won't be able to stay silent on it. At the very least, people will see that they were told to speak and they didn't, and they will remember that. And that in itself has power.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
still,
I was just rambling there for a
yeah,
second.
no, it was great. Yeah, you're right. I think it's still a genuinely a gigantic problem because social media is all a lot of marginalized groups have to get their side, to demonstrate their humanity, to express their grievances. It's something that we rely on to expand on their messaging, to show their plight, show their struggles.
Yeah.
Just like body camera footage and phone footage for police
Yeah.
brutality in America has at least started the actual grassroots activism that has been going on for a very long time. It helped penetrate what I call like the normie sphere, I guess. People seeing these brutal images and developing opinions on it. So that's huge. So I think that censorship of this sort is not great. And I'm not even an absolutist of I'm not a free speech absolutist in any way. I don't think anyone is, but like seeing this sort of takedown be issued still frustrates me. Just like I see people. Sorry, it's just people are like linking really irrelevant shit that's childish right now while I'm trying to have a conversation with you about
Classic
Palestine.
chat.
So
Classic chat.
I just gotta fucking clap some long-term community members for being absolutely pathetic, smooth-brained idiots.
Get in there with the easy
But
claps.
as I was saying, Facebook has taken down groups with 132,000 members that are dedicated to the ongoing struggles against the Israeli occupation. It's really, really, it's really, really frustrating to see. It's really scary. I hate it. I mean, it's everyone knows whenever you like most people on the left know that whenever you talk about Palestine, like in America, in 35 states, for example, you can't get a job at a public school as a teacher
Yeah.
if you have ever participated in like BDS protests, boycott,
Yeah.
divestment, and sanctions. For those of you who don't know, so like this is a huge problem, and these are southern states, and these is pieces of legislation that is oftentimes created by Republican legislators. It's still defended by liberal legislators as well, with some tiny exceptions like Bernie Sanders or Dianne Feinstein. But it is wild that this kind of unconstitutional act against the First Amendment could be made in the United States of America at the behest of a foreign nation that is our ally. It's wild.
Yeah,
To me.
it's awful, and it's perhaps the most striking example that something is wrong. If anyone, now people are always discussing two sides of the story, and they're trying to find some middle ground, which is sure you can do that, but now's not the time for it. And if you needed any example of the kind of imbalance of power there, you have one side which is being bombed to shit and killed, and then you have the other side which is spending as much time and effort on ensuring the message is controlled, or either not at all possible to deliver, or going online to engage in PR campaigns, whether that's posting tweets showing homes that look relatively undamaged, but still clearly some damage has been taken, and saying this is what it's really like, or shutting down Facebook groups, or shutting down Twitter accounts, censoring hashtags on Instagram, banning TikTok users. That is, no one who's innocent needs to hide anything. That is such an important thing to remember. If you have nothing to hide, what are you hiding by banning this stuff? The fact that you're pressuring social networks is, and you're behaving like mega cringe on Twitter is all the evidence you need to see that something's wrong, and they know it. And the people who are perpetrating these horrible atrocities know it. The thing that's also important to recognize is the fact that they're doing this and they're doing it so badly and so obviously and in sight means that they know that you know it. And that is huge. They have awareness that the tide is turning, and that's massive. There's going to be fear around it always. People are scared of talking about it. I'm scared of talking about it. Like, I'll be 100% honest with you. Before I posted that video, I genuinely sat there for an hour thinking about whether this was a thing that is going to damage me. I work in the US. I'm currently in the UK, and I'm applying for a visa. And I thought
Oh, good luck.
hard. Yeah, exactly. I thought long and hard about whether this is going to impact me. I've lived and worked in the US. I pay taxes in the US, and I had to come back to do a refresh. But now I live with the worry that I might not get back to the life I've made in the US. But I still took the opportunity to say something because I felt it was important in the moment to add my voice or be a voice in that scenario. And you probably have a lot to lose too, but think about the people who are out there who've got literally nothing to lose and are being bombed to death still. Like, those are the important things to keep in your mind when you're making these decisions. And when you decide to take the decision to speak up about it, it makes it even harder for the perpetrators to hide what's happening. When you see a Facebook group get shut down and you say this sucks, it just draws more attention to the fact that it's happening. So I can't tell you what to do. You need to think about your own sensitivities. You need to think about what you have to risk, and you need to think about what you have to lose. But if you can and you feel good about it, speak truth to power. It's so important. You've seen it work before. We saw it work in BLM to a degree. I mean, the stuff that Black people go through, the community goes through, is horrifying, endless, and it's always been there. Same for a lot of Asian communities. It's always going to be there. But if we keep pushing and keep supporting the people that need it, slowly but surely, I want to believe that we can change something, even something small, and leave a mark on something that history has struggled with, that has been historically impossible, that we've been told is not even worth thinking about. This truly feels like a moment where we can try and genuinely make an effort. And it's so important for us to do that. If you are out there and you're thinking about whether this is important, it is. Whether you've got money, your voice, whatever, you have something to give. And you could genuinely change the lives of Palestinians. Please try.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, those are powerful words, man. There's nothing I can say to follow that up with.
Oh man, how about some GTA RP? You want to do some of that?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna continue this coverage now. And then although I promised that I was going to do, light news today, we're gonna continue on with the news coverage now for a little bit longer before I dive into some other stuff. I don't know. I might play Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Oh hell yeah, let's go!
But I don't know if it'll. I hope it doesn't like ruin my nostalgia and like the way I remember it.
No, dude. Like, first game, it plays better. Like, still plays a bit weird. Like, because that when it first released, it was janky as hell. The combat, especially. Now they've made some tweaks here and there, so it feels playable now, and it feels good to get through it. It's way more playable. 2 and 3 hold up. They're good, man. They look nice. They're real good, and the characterization and the story is what matters. And that's still rock solid. My boy Thane, Mass Effect 2, hero. Love to see it. So yeah, it's good, man. It holds up. It holds up.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming. Where can people find you, Tamoor?
I don't want to take the opportunity to plug. So I'm not. I don't want to promote myself. Just you could, if you want to find me, you can find me.
Well, we're spamming your links in the chat regardless, and also the link of the GameSpot article that shows how you can donate medical aid for Palestinians, Doctors Without Borders, Palestine Children's Relief Fund.
Yeah, Palestine Children's Relief Fund, Medical Aid for Palestinians, Doctors Without Borders, Muslim Relief. Please find them, donate if you can, and also thanks to. I know this is supposed to be Fun Day, but like you are genuinely using your platform for good, and I appreciate it. You know, your chat is always giving you grief, and people are always, you know, probably not telling you this enough, but this is a good use of your platform. So even if it's supposed to be Sunday Fun Day, massive
Yeah,
respect for
no,
taking the
I
time to go
try
work.
to I try to do my best. You know, this is what I do.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure, man. All right, I'll
uh,
let you get back to it. But also, if you want to play some games, man, hit me up.
will do, man. Thank you. I'm always
All right,
looking for people to play games with. Well,
for sure.
but have a good day tomorrow.
Peace, man. See you later, chat.
All right, bye. Okay, that was Tamoor from GameSpot. We already you can find his Twitter, literally a chatter. Yeah, no, he's in here as well. You can find his information in the chat that we've been spamming.